So, you've got this incredibly powerful AI, this large language model, right? But how do you take it from being a cool toy to being an absolute game changer for your specific needs? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to look at the two main ways to upgrade your AI, something called RAG, and the other, fine-tuning.
But let's start with a really simple question. Have you ever tried asking your AI about the score from last night's game? Or, for the key points from your team meeting this morning? Or maybe what the current inventory is for your top-selling product? Chances are it's just going to shrug its shoulders. So why is that?
Well, it really boils down to what I call the knowledge problem. See, most of these big AI models, they're trained on this gigantic but totally static snapshot of the internet. Their knowledge is basically frozen in time, sometimes months or even years in the past. They have no clue about your company's private data or what's happening in the world right now. So how in the world do we fix that?
And that's where things get interesting. It turns out there are two main paths you can take to make your AI smarter. And I think the best way to understand them is with an analogy. Ask yourself this: are you trying to create a super focused specialist, or are you trying to hire a brilliant librarian who has access to an endless library?
Okay, let's break that down. The specialist, that's our stand-in for fine-tuning, has basically gone through extra schooling. It's learned a very specific skill or a way of talking so deeply that it's just second nature. Then you have the librarian. That's our RAG model. The librarian hasn't fundamentally changed who it is, but it's been given the keys to a massive, always up-to-date library, and it knows exactly where to look to find the right facts for any question you throw at. Let's meet our librarian first, shall we? This approach is called RAG, which stands for Retrieval-Augmented Generation, and honestly, it's a really clever way to give an AI access to new information without having to change the core model at all.
The name really tells you everything you need to know. You augment, or you enhance, the AI's answer by first retrieving facts. So instead of the AI just digging into its old, pre-trained memory, it gets a fresh cheat sheet with the exact info it needs to give you a great answer.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, it's kind of like a simple four-step dance. First, you ask a question. Something like, hey, what were our top 3 customer complaints about the new app last week? Now, the RAG system doesn't just guess. Step 2, it goes and searches your knowledge base, your support tickets, user feedback, whatever. Step 3, it pulls out the most relevant bits of info and combines them with your original question. And finally, step 4, it sends that new, supercharged prompt to the LLM. The model then uses that fresh context to give you a perfect, fact-based answer. Simple as that. All right, now for the other path. If RAG gives an AI a library, then fine-tuning basically sends it to grad school. Let's take a look at how we create the specialist.
Fine-tuning is different because it actually changes the AI model itself. You take a general-purpose model, say like GPT-4, and you keep training it, but this time on a much smaller, really specific set of data. This whole process literally adjusts the model's internal wiring, and that fundamentally changes how it behaves. So you see, it's not about giving it new facts to look up, it's about teaching it a whole new way to operate.
And what's the result of all that? Well, you could transform a generic AI into one that perfectly matches your brand's voice, always witty and on point. Or you could teach it a really complex new skill, like generating code that follows your company's unique and complicated framework. It's all about embedding a style or a skill so deeply into the model that it becomes pure instinct. Okay, so we've met the librarian and the specialist, two really powerful but really different approaches. So which one is actually right for you? To figure that out, we've got to put them head to head.
All right, pay attention, because this slide is where it all comes together. Look at the very top row, the goal. This is the #1 difference. RAG is all about providing knowledge, teaching the AI what to know. Fine-tuning is about teaching a skill or a style, teaching it how to act. Now look at data freshness. RAG wins this, no question. You can update its library in real time. A fine-tuned model, it's static once it's trained. And then you've got cost and complexity. RAG is usually cheaper and a bit easier to get going. But this last one, hallucination risk, this is so important. RAG is much safer because its answers are grounded in facts it just looked up. A fine-tuned model is still kind of winging it from its own modified memory, so it can still make stuff up. The trade-offs are super clear when you lay it all out like this.
And this, right here, perfectly captures the core difference. I just love this quote because it cuts right through the noise. Fine-tuning literally changes the AI's reasoning patterns, its style, how to think. RAG, on the other hand, just gives the existing model the right information at the right time. What to know. So you see, it's not really about which one is better. It's about picking the right tool for the job. So let's get practical and figure out which AI strategy makes the most sense for you. So you're going to want to choose RAG, our librarian, when what you really need is knowledge. Think about a support chatbot that can answer questions based on your 1,000-page technical manual, or a financial tool that summarizes live market data, or even a customer service bot that can pull up a specific user's order history to solve a problem. If you need facts, verifiable facts from a specific source, you need the librarian.
But you'll want to choose fine-tuning, our specialist, when you need to change the AI's actual behavior. You know, like an AI that can perfectly mimic the writing style of your best salesperson for outreach emails, or a legal assistant that can draft contracts using your firm's specific jargon and structure, or maybe a creative partner that generates poetry in a very specific format. If you need to change how the AI acts, you hire the specialist.
And that kind of leaves us with this one big, fascinating question to think about. As all this technology gets better and better, what does the future of AI even look like? Are we building towards one single giant, all-knowing brain? Or is the future going to be more of a complex ecosystem, a whole network of these highly trained, fine-tuned specialist AIs, each one equipped with its own personal RAG library? You know, maybe the most powerful AI of the future won't be a single model at all. Maybe it'll be a team.